My name is Lucas Bennett. I'm 33, and I've always been the guy who remembers birthdays, shows up with a gift wrapped in slightly crinkled paper, and offers to scrape the burnt lasagna off the casserole dish, even if I didn't touch the stuff. My family, though, has never made it easy to play the dutiful son. I'm not the black sheep. More like the wallflower nobody notices until the party's over and the dishes need washing. I'm not loud, not dramatic, never had a screaming match with anyone, but over the years, I've felt the slow, quiet sting of being pushed to the edges. It's the little things, group texts I was never added to, inside jokes that left me smiling blankly, family photos where I was somehow missing, even though I was there, hovering just outside the frame, probably holding someone's coat. I gave them the benefit of the doubt every time. They forgot, I told myself. It's not personal. I clung to that excuse way longer than I should have, half convinced that if I kept showing up, kept being helpful, kept tossing out kindness like confetti, they'd eventually spot me in the crowd. The thing about being sidelined so subtly is it gives everyone plausible deniability, and that's the kicker. Nobody has to say you're not wanted. They just make sure you stop expecting an invitation. Last month, I was at my nephew Owen's 7th birthday party. Owen's my sister Claire's kid. I brought him a model rocket kit he'd been raving about, complete with glow-in-the-dark decals, and spent an hour helping him piece together the fins while he babbled about launching it to Mars. I stayed after the party, long after the other adults had bailed, scrubbing plates in the kitchen while Claire scrolled through her phone, muttering about some viral recipe. Our Aunt Joyce was there too, picking at a slice of chocolate cake. It felt normal, like maybe the family tide was finally turning in my favor. So when I said, "Can't wait for the big family potluck tomorrow, gonna be great to catch up," I meant it with every ounce of sincerity. My cousin Nora, mid-bite of cake, choked out a laugh. "Wait, Lucas, you don't know? That was yesterday." My stomach lurched. I looked at Joyce, hoping it was a prank, but she was already swiping through her phone. No hesitation. "Got pics right here," she said, tilting the screen toward me. There it was, a picnic table draped in gingham, strung with mason jar lanterns, groaning under platters of crab cakes and coleslaw, everyone decked out in their summer best. Cousins, uncles, even great Aunt Marlene, who I thought was still in Florida, were there, raising glasses, kids tossing driftwood on the beach. It wasn't just some last-minute cookout. It was the potluck, the one my mom throws every summer at our family's seaside cabin, practically a reunion. Joyce kept swiping, oblivious. This one's from right before the pie came out. Your mom gave a toast about how blessed she felt, surrounded by everyone she loves. She slowed down on that last bit, like it dawned on her, I shouldn't be seeing this, but the damage was done. My face burned, my mouth went dry, and then Claire, silent until now, looked up from her phone and said, "Maybe take the hint next time." Just like that, casual as if she were commenting on the weather. I didn't speak, didn't move, just stood there, watching her wipe a serving spoon like she hadn't just gut-punched me. The kitchen felt like it was running out of air. I set the sponge down, grabbed the envelope I'd brought for Owen, his birthday card with a gift card for an ice cream shop tucked inside, and walked out. Driving home along the foggy Oregon coast, Claire's words looped in my head. Take the hint. Not angry, not venomous, just exhausted, like I was some oblivious guest who'd missed every cue to leave. I'll admit, I cried in my car. Not proud of it, not ashamed either. It wasn't about missing the potluck. It was the clarity, sharp and final, that I wasn't one of them anymore. I was at best a polite obligation. That night, I couldn't sleep. I lay in bed, staring at the shadows on my ceiling, replaying years of slights I'd shrugged off. The Christmas Eve, they said, was just close family, then posted photos with random neighbors. The group chats I only learned about when someone screenshotted them. The birthday wishes that never came, or arrived days late with a winking emoji. The jokes I never got because they were born in rooms I wasn't invited to. But I'm not the vengeful type. I don't dream of petty comebacks or public callouts. What I wanted, what I needed, was to be done. No more hoping. No more showing up with a smile and a side dish. No more handing out grace like it was on clearance, praying it'd earn me a spot at the table. So, I started planning, not revenge, but something quieter, permanent, something they wouldn't see coming because, let's be honest, they never saw me. First up, money. I've done all right for myself. I code for a tech startup, and while I'm not swimming in cash, I've made smart moves, like buying 3 rental cottages along the coast. My family doesn't know. They never ask about my life. For years, I've quietly covered their gaps. A new water heater for my parents' house through an anonymous fund I set up, braces for Claire's daughter, a car repair for Uncle Ted when he hit hard times. All through my LLC, no credit needed, just me helping because they were family, or so I thought. A week after Owen's party, my mom called, voice trembling. The furnace broke, Lucas, and the guy we always use said the maintenance fund's empty. What happened? I kept my voice steady. I dissolved it, Mom. I'm sure everyone at the potluck can chip in. She sputtered, confused, but I didn't elaborate. I just said goodbye and hung up. That same day, I called my lawyer. Those quiet subsidies, Owen's camp fees, Ted's dental bill, even the virtual assistant Claire hired for her candle-making side hustle, were all tied to contracts I could cancel with a pen stroke. I signed the papers, mailed the notices, froze the accounts. 2 weeks later, my phone lit up. Missed calls, texts, a FaceTime from Nora that just said, "What's going on?" I didn't answer. Then I opened the old family group chat, the one I'd made 5 years ago when Grandma passed, and we needed to plan her memorial. I still had admin rights. I renamed it Maybe Take the Hint, and, one by one, removed every member. Not a word, just silence. But the real move was the cabin, Driftwood Haven, a weathered clapboard retreat by the shore, left by my grandparents to my mom and her sister, Aunt Joyce. When Joyce died, her half went to Claire, but years ago, when Mom couldn't cover taxes, I bought her share. I owned 50%, though the family still acted like it was Grandma's cabin, crashing there for weekends, holidays, even lending it to friends without a peep to me. I'd paid for the new roof last year, never asking for thanks. But now, the cabin was my stage. I waited for the 4th of July weekend, when the family always piled in for barbecues and bonfires, kids racing to the tiddy-pools while the adults sipped cheap, rose, and got louder as the stars came out. I loved it once, but I hadn't been invited the last 3 years. This time, I didn't need an invite. I just needed to show up. 3 days before the holiday, I filed paperwork to restrict access to my half, citing a dusty clause in the deed that let co-owners demand a formal agreement if tensions arose. My lawyer made it bulletproof. I wasn't locking them out, just requiring a contract to use it. Claire, predictably, hadn't opened her legal mail, too used to me being the pushover. Friday morning, I drove up, parked my rusty hatchback across the driveway, and waited on the porch with a thermos of coffee. Around noon, the cars rolled in, Claire, Mom, kids, cousins, the whole sunburned crew, laughing until they saw me. Claire stormed up, cooler in hand. "Lucas, we're staying the weekend." I smiled. "It's the 4th. Thought I'd enjoy my half of the cabin. It's locked for co-owner review. You see the notice?" She blinked. "What notice?" Nora, hauling a beach bag, snapped, "Don't be ridiculous, Lucas. This is Grandma's place. We've always used it." I stayed calm. "Not anymore. I own half, and nobody's asked me in years. Want access? We draft an agreement, split costs, rotate dates. Or we sell." Mom stepped forward, voice soft. "Lucas, we didn't mean to hurt you. Things just got hectic." I looked at her, and for a moment, I almost wavered, but then I remembered every time she excused Claire's barbs, brushed off my absence as a whoops, or asked me to be the bigger person. "I know how hectic feels, Mom. That's why I'm here. This cabin's not a free beach resort anymore." They yelled, begged, flung guilt like seaweed. Claire called me selfish. Nora threatened to sue. But I had the deed, the clause, the receipts for every shingle I'd paid for. They had nothing but tradition and nerve. Eventually, they left, tires spitting gravel, and I stayed, cracking a cider and sinking into the porch swing Grandma loved. That night, I built a fire on the beach, watching embers float like fireflies, and felt for the first time in forever like I belonged, right there alone. The next morning, I wasn't done. Before heading back to town, I stopped at the post office and mailed a manila envelope to my lawyer. Inside was my decision to sell my half of the cabin to a quiet couple from Idaho, retirees who wanted a seaside hideaway. I gave them a deal if they'd install a low fence. Nothing dramatic, just enough to mark their turf, and keep my family from treating it like a public campground. Tucked in the envelope was a letter to my family, written over 2 sleepless nights, not cruel but clear as the Pacific on a calm day. Here's a piece of it. To everyone who forgot me, I became a ghost in this family, not because I faded, but because you nudged me out with your silence, your exclusions, your smirks when I showed up thinking I still mattered. I was the helper, the giver, the guy who didn't ask for much, just a seat and a shred of respect. Your message was loud. I'm not family. I'm a convenience, a checkbook, a punchline. So I'm taking the hint. You won't have to forget to invite me anymore or whisper when I leave. I'm done. The cabin was my last tie to belonging, and I've let it go. The new owners are kind. They'll care for it, and they won't welcome drop-ins, not even on holidays. This is my notice. I'm out of the guilt game, the gaslighting, the group chats. I wish you well, but my peace comes first now. Lucas. 3 days later, my phone exploded, voicemails, texts, Claire ranting. You're tearing us apart. Nora's messages started with you're selling the cabin and ended with you'll regret this. Mom's text was just one line. Why are you doing this to us? I stared at it, typed a reply, because you let them, then deleted it. She knew. A week later, the sale closed. The family tried to fight it, but Claire hadn't paid her share of upkeep, and my LLC held the deed's trump card. It was over, legally, financially, emotionally. Summer faded. They rented a condo down the coast, posting the same stiff smiles on Instagram. I didn't look long. I was too busy building a life where I wasn't invisible. Game nights with friends who didn't make me audition for their affection, dinners where nobody critiqued my mashed potatoes. But there was one last twist. 2 months after the sale, my company rolled out a mentorship program, training locals in coding and tech management. Guess who applied? Nora. She didn't know I'd see her application. She definitely didn't expect the note I attached to her rejection. Maybe take the hint next time. The weeks after were quiet. No calls, no texts, like the silence I'd endured had finally gone both ways, and for once, I didn't feel the urge to fix it. I quit scrolling their social media, deleted old family email threads. My phone was still, my head was clear, but peace wasn't instant. Some nights, I wondered if I'd pushed too far, if I should have stayed the quiet one, the reliable one, swallowing hurt to keep the family's shaky facade intact. Guilt was a familiar coat, cozy in its own toxic way, but I saw it for what it was, a leash for when control failed. I let it go, and something better grew, dignity, boundaries, a pride in choosing myself over people who'd never choose me. Work got better too. I landed a promotion. Turns out, when you're not drained by family drama, you've got brain power to spare. I took that trip to Iceland I delayed for years, solo, wandering glaciers and sipping coffee in Reykjavik cafes. No posts, no hashtags, just me living for me. The last thread snapped on Thanksgiving, always a big deal in my parents' house. Grandma's cornbread recipe, Dad's overcooked turkey, arguments over who got the window seat. I used to be there, relegated to the card table or a wobbly chair by the door, unnoticed when I stopped showing up. This year, though, I got a knock on my apartment. It was my dad, grayer than I remembered, thinner, holding a Tupperware of stuffing, eyes red not from tears but from the weight of choices catching up. "Can I come in?" he asked. I stepped aside. He set the container on my table, staring at it like it held answers he didn't. "Your mom's struggling," he said. I nodded. That happens when you lose your grip on people. He flinched, maybe at my tone, maybe the truth. "She's sorry, Lucas. Says it daily." I poured him water, sat across. She had years to say it to me. He wanted to argue, then sighed. "You were right to walk away." I told her we messed up, treated you like you didn't belong in your own family. I tried talking to Claire. She says you're overreacting, holding a grudge. I laughed, not amused, just tired. "Of course she does." He went on. "She's not okay. Her candle business tanked. She's back home. Mom's stressed, and I'm not here to guilt you. I just realized you didn't leave us. We left you, and we banked on you never fighting back." He looked at me, really looked. "I read your letter. The lawyer sent me a copy after the sale. Read it 3 times. Cried every time. You're a better man than I gave you credit for. I'm sorry it took losing the cabin and you to see it." I believed him, not sure why, but his voice was raw, not rehearsed. I grabbed a pecan pie from the fridge, sliced 2 pieces. No turkey, I said, but it's real whipped cream. He smiled faintly. We ate in silence. 2 guys with too much history and no clear path forward, but it was something, not a fix, not a reunion, just a start, and I made it clear, any future would be on my terms, no more playing doormat. Days later, a handwritten letter came from Mom. I read it twice, then tucked it away. I wasn't ready to answer, maybe never would be. Forgiveness isn't a light switch, and it doesn't come without change. Winter settled in, and I found a peace I hadn't known, earned. Hard-won peace. Then, just before Christmas, a text pinged, not from Claire or Nora, but Owen, a video. "Hey, Uncle Lucas." He grinned, gap-toothed, waving his rocket. "Mom says I can't message you, but I miss you. I launched the rocket. It went so high." Claire's voice cut in, "Owen, give me that." And the video stopped. My chest ached, not with anger but sadness for him, caught in their cycle of exclusion. I sent a video back. "Hey, Rocket Man, that launch sounds awesome. I miss you too, bud. And I'm always here no matter what." I didn't hear back, but that was fine. I meant it. This wasn't about hurting them. It was about stopping their hurt, building walls not to punish but to protect. Maybe Owen's generation won't grow up invisible, learning it's okay to say no, to walk away from love that only shows up when it's convenient. Me? I'm good. I bought a cozy place, small, with a stone fireplace and a porch overlooking the dunes. I host poker nights, cook chili nobody complains about, laugh louder, sleep deeper. When old photos pop up, me on the sidelines, half smiling, half hoping. I swipe past, not bitter, just done.